So it isn't Marvel's fault that people aren't watching the movies. It's the fans and the way they absorb media. Hey, what's up, nerd fan? This is your boy Gashan. I want to welcome you to Into the Nerd. So, I saw a very interesting article where the Russo brothers were asked about what they thought was troubling the MCU when it came to, sales. Like, why aren't people gravitating towards it anymore? And how they answered it was the most political response that I understand why they did it, because in the end of the day, they want to work for Disney, or at least they want the opportunity to. So they're not going to hold them accountable or hold their proverbial feet to the fire. They're going to blame the people who it's easiest to blame, the fans. But they didn't do it in the vitriolic way that we're normally used to seeing, which is like, hey, these fans don't know what they're doing. They're racist, homophobic. They didn't do that. What they did was say that the way that fans are used to absorbing media, they just want the story to be told right there. The new generation wants the story. They want everything. They don't want long form storytelling anymore. They want everything to be given to them, like streaming. Which is very interesting, right? Because when phases 1 through 3 came out, throughout that time, which is over 10 years, I believe, right? Something like that. Streaming networks were still around. As a matter of fact, they were growing at that time. It's not that people are looking for a certain way for stories to be told. As far as, is it coming, from streaming? Like, are we able to binge watch the episodes? Or can we sit there and watch a 2.5-hour movie? That's not why the MCU specifically is failing. Or we can talk about superhero movies in general, but let's talk about the MCU because that's what they were speaking about, right? The films are not as good. Let's just call it what it is. Phases 1 through 3 had people, even people who don't read comics, just running to the theaters. It was a cultural event. People love to go to the movie theater, talk about it online, talk about it at work, buy the merchandise. Now, there's still a nice set of people who will still do that. But noticeably, those numbers have dwindled. And it's not because fans absorb media a particular way. Now, did Disney Plus and all these other things exist the same way where, you could watch the movie on a streaming network with your just monthly subscription? Not necessarily. It wasn't like that in the beginning. So am I going to say that doesn't take away from some of the money a bit for people who don't necessarily care about the movie-going experience? That would be inaccurate. Clearly, some money is lost from there. But to make it seem like bombs like Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, and a ton of other streaming service shows that have not done well are because the new generation likes a certain type of storytelling. The fact that a bunch of their different shows, whether it's a movie or a show, aren't doing well proves that that's not the case. There is a difference in the quality to where even the most hardcore MCU stans can't support what they're doing. So what does that mean? Do we once again, in this polite way, blame the fans? It's just the way, it's the new generation. They just don't appreciate what we're doing now. They're different. Or do you, as great directors, who, mind you, I still have my issues with them for what they did with Captain America Civil War, because that was a bastardization of quite literally the best-selling comic for Marvel ever, I believe. For them to say that, and I get it, I don't think they're hurting for money, but it's like, damn, be proud of what you were a part of. what you were a part of was different. Even though I didn't like what they did with that movie as far as what that storyline was, it's still better than anything that we're getting right now. It is. So it's weird how everybody always resorts to the fans. Oh, damn, it's not what we're doing, it's them. Oh, this movie. Oh, no. It's them. They just don't like this. They just don't appreciate this. Well, if all of a sudden the fans weren't a problem before in phases 1 through 3, but now they're a problem now, why wouldn't you adapt? Why all of a sudden are the fans not coming there? Perhaps there's something that the fans liked before that they don't like now. This seems very easy to understand, but here we are. Once again, blaming the fans, and not like a super disrespectful way like a lot of these other producers and writers are going, oh, they're homophobes or whatever, like what was happening with the She-Hulk director, where she pretty much was calling them online trolls and things like that, and making episodes and things attacking them. Even with things from the DCEU like Birds of Prey, it's like, oh, this was bad because of men. Weird stuff like that. But let me not go into DCEU because that's not what this is about right now. But I think you get it. Really? The fans? Not that these movies suck. Not that there isn't a real central storyline. Not that they don't even understand who the villain is. Not that they don't even understand the characters. Not that they're going off the source material so much that they haven't found anything good to replace it with. Or that perhaps they're leaning on representation of social issues, but not representation of an amazing storyline. And guess what? I'm going to say this like I've said in a whole bunch of things. It's not like you can't have a story that has sprinkles in of social stuff. But you first have to have a storyline that anyone can at least grab onto. And as you can see, whether you're a person who reads the comics like I do, or a person who only got into these characters because of things like the MCU and cartoon characters, that energy isn't the same. You aren't as excited. People were constantly looking up what superhero stuff is coming up next. That energy isn't there anymore. That's not because of streaming services and the way that people absorb media and the way they want their stories told. Oh, they want the payoff really quickly. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But this is just a lazy thing to say. And rather than doing what the fans, the people who are paying money to see your films, instead of doing what they enjoyed, you want them to just change into a different version to support something that they've already told you they don't really like. But I guess it's just the way they like stories being told. You let me know, what is your issue with the MCU, if you have one. If you don't, if you think it's perfectly fine, why so? Why do you think that there's diminishing returns? Do you think it's superhero fatigue? Matter of fact, I'm going to make a video about that too. Enter the nerd.